Good
Well,
evening and welcome to school committee's last regular meeting of 2025 on December 18th, 2025, and I will call the meeting to order at 5:04 p.m. First, we'll read off the agenda, beginning with public comment, remarks from the superintendent, chair, and student representatives, the consent agenda, consisting of consideration of a grant of $16,900 from the Winchester Foundation for Educational Excellence, consideration of minutes from May 9th, May 16th. We are going to pull the June 12th, 2025 minutes. Then we will have July 10th workshop minutes, July 16th workshop minutes, the August 21st workshop minutes, September 16th, 2025. We're going to pull October 9th because we already voted those. October 16th minutes, October 30th minutes from the public hearing, and October 30th minutes from the regular meeting. Then we'll have reports and action items, including MSBA, Massachusetts State Building Authority, and a Morocco school update, FY27 budget and state of the town update, and consideration of policy IKFE competency determination. I'm going to ask the committee to take that out of order, or maybe take it later in the evening if necessary. A first reading of policies, including policies with no changes. These have already been reviewed by the policy subcommittee. Those are BDG, the school attorney, BHD, public relations. Then we have section B updates, including policies BBBE on school committee vacancies, BDEE, curriculum subcommittee, BDFA on school councils, BDFA E1 on the school improvement plan, BEDB on the agenda format, BEDF on voting methods, BEDG on minutes, BGD on school committee review of procedures, and BHE, use of electronic messaging by school committee members. Then we have section E updates on EBC, emergency plans, EEAA on student transportation, EEAEA on bus driver examination and training, EEAEB, drug and alcohol training for school bus and commercial vehicle drivers. Sorry, I think that was drug and alcohol testing for school bus and commercial vehicle drivers. EEAECR, also known as JICCR, on student conduct on school buses, and EEAG, student transportation in private vehicles. Then we have Section E additions, including ECAB, access to buildings and grounds, EFBA, school food and nutrition, meal modifications, EHAA, district security relating to technology, EHD on data and records retention. Then we have some policies for deletion, including BDFA E2 on submission and approval of the school improvement plan, and BDFA E3 on conduct of school council business. And last, we have EEAFA on bus user fees. Then we have next meetings and an executive session and adjournment. So with that, we will go back to public comment. And thank you so much for the public comment screen. Do not have to bumble through that this week. Let me just see. Public comment shall be for a period of 20 minutes. Any citizen wishing to speak before the committee shall identify themselves by name and address and shall speak for no longer than 3 minutes. All remarks will be addressed through the chair of the meeting. Public comment is not a discussion, debate, or dialogue between citizens and the committee. It's a citizen's opportunity to express their opinion on issues of school committee business. And written comments longer than 3 minutes may be presented to the committee before or after the meeting for the committee members' review and consideration at an appropriate time. So with that, I see that we have 3 hands raised for public comment. me just see.
Will Erica
Dr.
Walsh.
Matthews.
I'll promote Erica.
Oh, yes. And Dr. Matthews, could you be our timekeeper this evening?
I sure can, thank you.
Thank you.
I lose there. I promoted Erica Walsh, but I did not see her. Oh, there she is.
There I am. All right. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. Sorry, it always takes me a minute.
That's okay. You made me nervous. I thought I dropped you somehow.
All right. Erica Walsh, 64 Wedgemere Avenue. Good evening. Thank you guys so much for everything you guys do for our community. I truly appreciate it so much. Today, I'm here just to share my strong support of Winchester's school councils as an important role that they play in our district. During my first 4 years as a parent at Vincent Owen, I wasn't aware that a school council existed at our school. And, it wasn't until last year that a fellow parent mentioned to me and explained that, we can attend, there's this great process about a school improvement plan, and that we could come make public comment. So it was really eye-opening, and was very cool to see that this was a meaningful vehicle for improvement in our schools and something as parents that we could participate in. So I'm very grateful for the leadership under Principal Karen, and our school council meetings are now posted in all of our communication, and we've been welcome to attend, and they've been very informative. And I just wanted to encourage the district to ensure that more families are aware of school councils, understand their statutory role, and feel welcome to attend and participate. I would also ask that more regular meetings within reason and additional support might enable councils to take a more thoughtful and thorough approach to the school improvement plans while still meeting their responsibilities. And as the school committee considers its school council policy, I hope this moment is seen as an opportunity to strengthen collaboration and to reaffirm that shared governance matters in Winchester. So thank you so much for your time and for your continued commitment to our schools and community.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you so much. And next up, we have Alexis Darcy.
Okay, you can hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you see me?
We cannot see you.
Oh,
we can.
Erica was able to achieve that. I don't know how.
Yes. And now I can't. Erica, don't take this personally, but I'm trying to move you out of the.
Totally.
Oh, now we lost the last. Shot it again.
Okay.
Oh, there she. All right, you made it.
Okay, thank you. I joined as a panelist. I'm not sure if that was the correct selection, but
yes,
I will. Okay.
I promoted you, so to speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody. Agree with Erica. Thank you so much for your service to our community and for allowing me to provide public comment today. My name is Alexis Darcy. I live at 9 Cox Road, and I have 2 children in the Winchester Public Schools, a 3rd grader at BO and a 6th grader at McCall. I'm near the end of a 2-year term on the VO School Council, having been appointed by Mrs. Karen. Thank you to Dr. Hackett for forwarding me in advance of this meeting a copy of the proposed policies, BDFA and BDFE, which will be read tonight. Thank you also to Dr. Hackett for creating a process of engagement whereby school council members may provide their input on the new policy. As you may know, our school councils are in somewhat nascent form, probably due to a variety of factors, including the COVID pandemic and some limited messaging and education around the councils. It was sad to me that I wasn't able to participate in the VO School Council since 2019, when my daughter started in kindergarten at VO. I was really in need then of a place to engage around the 2019 DESE report on the state of gifted education in Massachusetts. I ended up looking out of district for guidance, but I was never able to find the correct support nor the help that I needed for my child. Looking to the future, I'm asking the school committee to reflect on the best ways to nurture our school councils. If our school councils are functioning well, I hope that we can produce school improvement plans that ensure everyone knows the school's goals and priorities, and that the school follows a clear and structured approach to improvement, which would include having people understand their roles, their responsibilities, and how progress will be measured. Tonight, I'm asking the school committee to work to develop a strong relationship with our 8 school councils. That relationship has a strong potential to reaffirm and strengthen lay governance in public education in Winchester. Specifically, I would ask for the school committee's attention to school council elections and to reviewing school improvement plans as an important method for strengthening your governance of our schools. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
I see we have one more hand raised. Katie, we could please elevate her. Either she's elevated or she,
Hi.
She is elevated.
oh, she is. Okay, there.
Oh, hi. How are
Oh,
you?
hi, Katie.
Hi.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate your time. My name's Katie O'Connor. I live at 72 Wedgmere Ave. My husband and I have 4 children in the Winchester Public School System in grades K, 2, and 4 at VO, and in 6th grade at McCall. I wanted to share that since I learned of the school council last year, I've had a very positive experience with the institution. I attended meetings and made public comments expressing our concern around the amount of time our children spend learning on screens at school. We worry that time on Chromebooks can negatively impact focus and deep learning. I felt that the effort to attend and comment school council meetings was worthwhile when Principal Karen at VO shared that she spoke to VO teachers and included the mindful use of technology in her VO school improvement plan. But now I guess my question is, once we have that bullet point on the plan, what happens next? My understanding is that school councils help develop school improvement plans, which are useful because they ensure that everyone knows the school goals and priorities, that initiatives are connected, that staff can focus on a few high leverage goals, that people understand their roles and how progress will be measured, and that the school has a clear strategy for improvement. I worry that many parents don't have awareness around school councils as an important way for parents to participate in the governance of our schools. So the reason I joined today and my ask to the administration and the school committee is, would you consider holding an education session for parents about the existence of school councils and their function? I think that could be a very well-attended meeting and a great resource for our community. If parents have an awareness of school councils and understand their value, I believe they can be a very effective means of improving our schools to ensure that each student is given the chance to reach their highest potential. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. O'Connor. Oh, I think we have one more hand raised.
Greg Bilton,
Yes.
promoting.
Hello, is it my turn?
It is.
Great. Thanks everyone. My name is Greg Bilton. I am a parent of 3 Winchester students. Just by background, I am one of the co-chairs of PISC. I am the president of the VO Parents Association, and I do a few other things in town, not school related. I want to be crystal clear to this group, and for those listening, I am not speaking on behalf of PISC or their members or on behalf of VOPA. I just raised that to give you background that, I am involved in the school system here in those capacities. So I speak to administrators, parents. I just wanted to give you that by background. I'm not speaking on behalf of those organizations. I'm speaking personally. With that said, I just want to comment real quickly. I saw that the school council policy was on the agenda today on revision. I've been kind of involved in this for the better part of a year in my capacity as VOPA president with some of our community members. And I just wanted to express that it is my opinion, and I would urge the school committee to revise the policy to be consistent with what mass law requires. Um, no more, no less than mass law requires. I understand that a policy can be aspirational, but over the past year, it seems to me like having a policy that is too robust can be quite problematic. So it would be I would urge the school committee to revise the policy to the requirement of the mass law. That does not foreclose the school committee or administrators from going above and beyond that. It just prevents you from being in a situation in the future where you are unable to be compliant with your policy. As you probably know, the school policy requires participation by the community members. You have no control over that. As VOPA president, we had a school council election. I'm sorry, we opened up our school council for an election and we had a bare minimum of people that wanted to join. So we didn't even need to have an election. It was quite possible that we wouldn't have even gotten enough people to form a school council. So I would strongly urge the school committee not to revise the policy to be more robust than is required by law. I think that's unfair to future administrators and future school committee members potentially, because you're reliant on the general public. In my position as VOPA president, I am happy to work with our community members, our school committee, and the administrators to publicize the school council to the extent you guys want to, and I'm here to help in any way possible. I just think you should have a policy that you can comply with, not only now, but potentially in the future. So thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, I don't see any other hands that are raised, so I will close public comment at this point. Dr. Hackett, I do see our student representative, Ingo Lee, in the audience. If you could elevate him so he can join us. And thank you very much to those of you who spoke in public comment. With that, we'll move on to remarks from the superintendent, chair, and student representatives.
Did you say my name first? You did. Nice.
I did.
Sorry, I was trying to promote and
and I was looking
all the rest of it. Good evening, everybody, and we are hard to believe that we are one school day away from going into the December break. One thing I really wanted to share tonight, because I know it has been on people's minds, is that we're already talking, obviously, the 26-27 school year calendar. And as the school committee members know, the contract, Unit A contract language, there is contract language in the Unit A contract that does have some parameters on when we can actually start school related to Labor Day. So next year, Labor Day is late. I think it's the 7th. So school would actually start before Labor Day. We would anticipate that the first day of school for students would be September 2nd. And then we would go on Wednesday, Thursday, and then on September 4th, which is the Friday, as we've done historically, there would be no school, and then Monday is the Labor Day weekend. So I just wanted to share that out loud. Obviously, the school committee needs to review drafts of the calendar. We work collaboratively with the union on that as well. So it will probably be another month maybe before we're in a position where we will actually have a final calendar for publication to the public. So that concludes my remarks.
Great, thank you. I guess Dr. Hackett already said that this is our last meeting of 2025, which I find really hard to believe. Very quick year. We are heading into our once in 7 year 2 week break. So I hope everybody has a very safe holiday and a happy new year. So that's all I will say. And I see we have one of our student representatives here, Ingo Lee. So I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. School life has been positive as students look ahead to winter break. Fall sports have come to an end and the winter sports have started. A quick recap of what has happened. So the boys varsity hockey team won against Stoneham in overtime on the 13th, and they won against Melrose on the 17th. The girls varsity hockey team also won both of their games so far, beating Stoneham 7-2 and Melrose 3-0. The boys basketball won 57-52 against Stoneham also. In school, teachers across different departments recently participated in a door decorating competition, which was fun. The doors looked amazing, and the math teachers won the title as Best Decorated Door. And that's it for remarks.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions for Ingo? I thought I saw a hand raised, but
Yeah, I have
okay, sorry. It disappeared off. Stephanie.
Thank you.
You disappeared off my screen.
Ingo, I don't know if you have an answer for this question today, but maybe something to keep in the back of your mind when you enter the school year, when we return from break. But how is the classroom device ban going? You
I
don't
do
have to answer it if you don't have a prepared answer, but I'm just curious how students they find it.
Okay, I can give a quick answer. I think it's going well. Teachers recently cracked down on it, so now everyone's phone's up there. They're checking every class. They go through it, and then they use that for attendance, which has been working. And I think the students have adapted. It was hard at the beginning of the year, and people were complaining all the time, but I hear less complaints. I think it's going well.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda with consideration of a grant of $16,900 from WIFI. And I see we have the executive director, Ms. Vanderbrand, in the audience, if we could elevate her just in case. And then we also have a host of minutes.
I mean, as long as there are no questions, I'm happy to make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
And the only thing would be that we're pulling June 12th, October 9th, and November 20th.
With the exception of those three that are pulled.
Second.
All in favor? Ms. Minyarji?
Aye.
Dr. Matthews?
Aye. Sorry, mute issues.
No worries. Mr. Hopcroft?
Aye, and gratitude to WIFI.
And Ms. Bergstrom?
Aye, and also gratitude to WIFI and Ms. Bolognese. Did you see that Ms. Vandervelde is elevated?
I saw her disappear from the attendees. So
so I was worried you didn't see her up. I just want to.
You're right. I don't see her, but I assume she's in here. So, and the chair votes aye, so the vote is unanimous. And maybe we can just give Ms. Vanderbrand a few minutes to speak on behalf of WIFI.
Hi. Well, thank you so much for having me and for approving our latest string of grants. We sort of divided our fall grants into two sections this year, just because we were still working on details for the four that you voted on tonight. We are very, very excited about the STEM and Engineering Night at the high school that is going to be April 2nd. WIFI is going to have a strong presence there. And I have heard from so many elementary school families that they are so excited to get their kids into the high school. because high school is this big looming building that you go vote in, but until you are a student there, you don't really have any experiences in. So a lot of our elementary families are very excited to get in, and middle school families as well. But I don't have anything else unless anyone has questions.
Any questions from the committee? Otherwise, I thank you so much to Withy as always. I think these are some really amazing grants. There's a very generous grant for ELA Amplitude at the high school, a podcasting pilot. Also the STEM night. I've been seeing a lot of publicity about that in the newsletters, so that's exciting to see. And I do remember having young kids and thinking, gosh, the high school really is like the mystery. So I think that is exciting for them to be able to have a chance to get in. So thank you so much for your generosity as always from Withy.
Of course, we're happy to help.
All right. Thank you. And next up, we have reports and action items. So we'll begin with the MSBA Morocco School update. Some big news in town and lots of excitement for our Morocco students. Dr. Hackett, I might just turn that over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And yes, very exciting news. We are kind of into it now. So we were actually able to attend I froze for a second. I don't know if I froze for you or not, but I froze for myself. That freaked me out. We were able to attend the MSBA board meeting last week, at which they voted unanimously to invite us into the program, which is the eligibility period. So as part of that, they also had what they call Module 1. They are extremely well organized, and all of you know it's quite a well-run organization, which is a good thing given the multi-hundreds of thousands of dollars that are involved in helping schools build school systems actually build new schools. But we were invited to that. Dr. Matthews, Andrew Barron, and Principal Leslie West and myself went through that module. There'll be more for each module. There are multiple modules that we'll be going through. So it was informational. I just wanted to point out our project coordinator is Rebecca. So she will be really taking the lead with us. She'll be our main point of contact throughout the entire project as we go forward. So we look forward to working with her. I'm just going to quickly many of you seen this before, and this probably looks familiar, but just to kind of talk a little bit about where are we. And as you recall, we did submit in the spring a statement of interest to the MSBA, which was approved by both you and the the select board. And now that we have been invited into eligibility, we have a few things that we're going to need to do over the next coming couple of months. The actual forming of the rest of it below is really partly is kind of the next phases. So you can see that we are down here in the project completion in the bottom right hand corner for Lynch, which is those of you who were here for the entire thing know that it seemed like took a long time, and then it seemed like it just came out of nowhere and it just opened up. And so that we'll have a similar experience, I'm sure, with Morocco. I would say that in terms of kind of beginning of the process to the actual end of the project, if it is successful and we're able to meet all the requirements of the MSBA, we're able to get local community support. It will be a little bit shorter than it was for Lynch. And some of you might recall, first of all, we had some COVID interruption, but we also had stepped out of line just a little bit because we had some conversations around the enrollment. That was before my first year anyway. I kind of came into that, and that had already been done. So, and obviously enrollment and the build enrollment, which is what they call it, is the number one driving factor for what the size of the building and the square footage will be, and then ultimately, obviously, the cost. So there's a lot of work to do between now and then. But once we go through the process, we will be the initial eligibility period will officially start for us in March. When the MSBA meets in March, we'll have some deliverables that we will be providing them. They will at that time vote. But at that time, once they've met and they have taken a second vote, our eligibility period starts from that date. So it doesn't start from when we met last week. It starts from a date yet to be determined in March. And what that means is that we will need to, within those 270 days, we will need to complete all of the requirements of the eligibility period and move ourselves into the next phase, which is feasibility. So if we can, depending on how fast things can go and how things come together, we will move as quickly as we can, but yet be thorough and make sure that we have all of feedback and everything we need to have in place to make it into feasibility. Because the issue partly with the MSBA is they don't meet monthly. They meet several times a year, but there are periods of time when there's a relatively big gap, 2 to 3 months from one meeting to another. So not being ready when they meet can cost you 2 or 3 months, and things can happen, and whether it's a timing issue with whomever we bring on for owner's project manager and eventually for an architectural firm, then we really become dependent on them hitting deadlines. But we will hit our deadlines. But once it goes into their hands, it's a little bit out of our hands. So we should be excited. I mean, this is going to be a lot of work between now and next fall. And the first couple of years, there won't be shovels in the ground, and nobody's going to see anything going on physically. But just rest assured that there'll be plenty going on in our office, as well as with the EFPBC, who will be beginning to after we get through the approval of the educational plan, we start getting into feasibility and beyond. We'll be involved in this project as well. So happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. I just really wanted to kind of give you and the public a somewhat of a sense of what's happening now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions from the committee? Ms. Minyarji.
So Frank, the Morocco will be shovel ready in about 2 years' time? Is that an estimate that we can throw? Is there an estimate that we can throw out there? Because I know that's a question that's been floating around.
Sure.
And I know there's still a lot of uncertainty, but I don't know if we have enough information to answer that.
I think that the original projections that have been provided in the committee has talked about publicly over the years of the possibility of actually being able to open the building. And it could be a brand new building. It could be a renovation of the existing building with an addition. That we don't know any of that yet. But I do think it's reasonable to think that we would be able to actually be open for the 2030, 2031, oh my goodness, school year, saying those numbers out loud. I think I'll be 87. No. So we would anticipate that is not, that's reasonable, that if everything goes to plan, then we would be looking to occupy the building for the 2031 31 school year.
Okay. I think I'll be 87 by then too.
I just feel 87. I think that's what it is.
Thank you.
Certainly.
School committee members age like dogs, Stephanie.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you for the update and the little overview of the timeline and what we can expect. That's just such exciting news for our Morocco community and all of Winchester. So, okay, let me see. Next item up is the FY27 budget and State of the Town Committee update.
So I'm going to ask if Mr. Mayor can share screen. We continue to work on, obviously, FY27 budget and State of the Town Committee. There is a connection there because of the timelines that we've been working with the State of the Town Committee on. Certainly, anyone on this, well, we have Stephanie, Tim, and Karen are all three involved in the state of the town. We've been working on the priorities, and this is about this probably the 27th time you've seen this. But what we have done, because we've been in school a little bit longer, we've been able to get a little bit more feedback. And so these have been tweaked, I would say. There isn't anything in here that should not, everything in here should look familiar to you, but we have done a little bit of tweaking. We've moved a few things around in terms of the actual fiscal year. And we did make a couple of decisions on a couple of priorities that we we were able to kind of adjust the cost on as we kind of gone through the year. So what this does, that we want to make sure that you have enough time to ask questions, certainly, and have discussion. This is another draft from us to you to take a look at, and ultimately, it's really this is in your hands in terms of what you think are the priorities, what you wish to support, and how you wish to support them. Just take you through this brief quickly. The first part of this, that's in kind of an orange color at the top, is what we're calling our adjusted level services budget. So and we name it that now, especially because we are going into the budget development of FY27. So we want to call out to make sure it's clear that part of right now our early planning, or our planning for FY27, based on our initial rollover and development of where we are with our level services budget, and eventually working toward our recommended budget, which we'll be bringing to you. You will be considering for a vote, the initial vote at the end of January. We are anticipating that we're going to need about we know we're going to need about 1.27 million to fund items that are currently in our budget that were unanticipated and unbudgeted, or are part of a structural gap that has been building over the years. And those of you who've been on Budget Sub, who have gone to Budget Sub meetings, who have heard us talk about fees, for example, would not be surprised to see that athletics, we're at a point now where we were able to kind of live off reserves for the last several years. The reserves are depleted, and we are in a situation now where we really need to bring that structural cost into the budget, unless the committee at some point decides that they want to increase fees, and maybe some portion of that would be offset by fee increase. But the reality is right now that we're short that amount of money. We need to bring that back into the budget, or find an alternative way to fund that, or we would be faced with potential reductions. So the other items are pretty self-explanatory. We had certainly an increase in special education extended school year transportation costs. The program was more robust. We had more students participating in it over the course of the summer, which we did not anticipate the number of students that would need transportation and be in that program. And then you can see we have had a pretty significant bump in special education in and out of district transportation. So that is inclusive of not only our students going out of district, but it's inclusive of the students that that are on our in-district programs that we transport to the three schools that have programs at the elementary level. That contract is with NRT, which is really part of the SEAM collaborative. We're part of that collaborative. They bid that contract out, and NRT is the provider for that. And I think just to make the point that we certainly are aware that there's been some challenges with the service that's been being provided, and we have been having internal discussions about other ways in which we can take a look at that and try to deal with it. We've been nonstop trying to deal with it with the vendor, but it just doesn't seem to improve. So we're working on that, but that cost may decline, but it would be hard to make a significant adjustment this year. So we have an eye on it for next year. General education transportation is up a little bit, and we also have several ESPs that were hired after the budget was approved in the spring of last year, who are providing services for students with special needs and supports, as well as we are definitely kind of year over year now seeing a deficit in our sub costs for a variety of reasons. That's true, but we've always run really kind of in the red sum around substitutes. We've never really, but since I've been here, really budgeted the right amount of money for providing substitute teachers, which then means that we are into finding the money elsewhere in the budget. I see Ms. Bergstrom has a hand, so I'm going to stop.
I just want to be clear, Dr. Hackett. Is this substitutes that are in building substitutes that we're hiring to be in building, or is this the daily subline we're increasing? Because I'm guessing it's more than 7 total FTE if we're talking about the daily.
So the FTE is related.
7 is for the ESP.
Yes, that's related to the ESPs. There's really no FTE count per se, but we are talking about long-term subs. We're talking about long-term leaves related to parental leave and other leaves that are longer term. We use our ISS for our daily subs. Where we could use 10 more, I'm sure, but we do the best we can to make those work. But we're really talking about here is the long-term sub cost.
And those aren't long-term subs aren't necessarily permanent employees that are contributing to our FTE.
Correct. We don't count them as an FTE because we don't know from year to year how many we're going to need. I mean, some districts will hire permanent subs and they become part of the district FTE count. But we don't do that.
Right.
We do it on an as needed basis.
Thank you.
So I have to answer any other questions on this section of the priorities.
So if they're not FTEs, then maybe is there a better way to show that on?
We can split it out. The FTEs are related to the ESPs.
Okay.
So we can split it out. We tried to consolidate some things here just for.
I mean, maybe even if it's just in the position program column, substitute.
Yes. Yep.
So that
we can make that adjustment. It's a good recommendation.
Ms. Minyarji?
Yes, I'm just looking at this list and comparing it to the last one that we showed to State of the Town, and I don't see M-Class and MTSS.
So let me take you through it first, if you don't mind.
Is that the literacy assessment, MTSS?
Yep.
And then M-Class, is that considered the literacy assessment? Because no one knows what it is otherwise? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is anyone else set with the first part?
Just I wanted to clarify something, Dr. Hackett. So what's in orange? Because you're in your setup for this, you talked about the override, but the FY27 adjusted level services is what we normally go through as part of our budgeting process at this time of year, any year. And so this would be things we would be asking for no matter what. These aren't things that we are.
It is not even asking for. It's actually costs that we are incurring currently that we need to cover. We've been able to cover it through other means when we've, as a result of ESSER funding, opera funding, and revolving account funding that we had available. But and then some of it is just in unanticipated, unbudgeted costs since the time of town meeting. And to be clear, that 1.2 million is making the assumption it's working off the assumptions that currently we've been presented for the state of the town model, which is a level services budget of 5%. So we have a level services budget of 5%. These costs are above and beyond that 5% that definitely need to be covered. Now, having said that, level services is not the recommended budget, right? But regardless, these costs are still structurally not in the budget, and they need to come in the budget. So either way, we need to bring these into the budget because there's no other way to fund it.
Right.
So that number won't change. What possibly will change is where we are with our rollover budget in terms of, I mean, the level of services budget is clearly going to change because we're going to be developing a recommended budget. So again, this is assuming within the model that's been presented, a 5% level services. This is above and beyond that 5% level services, but we're going to continue, and you're going to continue to work on the level services budget, turning that into the recommended budget. And we've not really talked about this, but I really hope that we do have the vote that needs to be taken at the end of January by charter. I do hope that the committee continues the process that you used last year, where you extended the conversations and actually gave more time to review and go through budgeting process. And I believe you voted in March, so for kind of a final budget. Okay, so if we go down just that second section, FY27 essential services. So again, we've kind of consolidated this. What you have seen up to this point really has been what we've been sharing with the State of the Town Committee. We're starting to adjust now to a different audience. The audience really now, as we start talking about our budget and developing FY27, really is State of the Town, but it's more than that, right? It's the entire school community. So we want to just kind of simplify this a little bit more, condense it a little bit more. It felt that what we really need to show is what are the items, and where are we with what we're seeing is the cost per fiscal year. So as we've talked about before, the elementary literacy program implementation, our recommendation in your conversations would be to have a separate article for that, because that is a one-time cost. There is an ongoing cost, which you'll see later on built into the budget for FY28 and beyond. Yes. As it already been pointed out, literacy assessment and MTSS software, that is the M-Class literacy assessment software, as well as the multi-tier support system software that we're building out. That is that combined cost. The 3.5 FTEs for the elementary math specialist would round out one per building at the elementary level. And this right now, we are carrying one additional, we're calling it a district position, because we believe that as we go into next year, we know we have 0.5 at every elementary school right now, but as we start building out and looking to pilot some mathematics programs, and again, soft pilot FY27, but we believe it would be advantageous to have the additional position. As you know, we have more than one elementary literacy specialist per school, or the FTEs are more than five. So we think that it would be important for us to have that position, even if it's to help assist in kind of the curriculum build out as well. So that's part of that. 6 through 8 instructional specialists would be tier 2 supports, literacy and mathematics. You have seen that before, but we're not really identifying at this point what the need would be and how we would structure that. So we've left it a little bit broader. The McCall Elementary elimination of shared staff is related to the McCall schedule. As we've talked about before, we do share music staffing with the elementary level, and obviously that ties up and binds our schedule at the middle school as well as the elementary school. But at the middle school, because those staff members are servicing elementary school students and not available to schedule fully. So that will actually both provide benefits to the elementary schedules as well as the middle school schedule. And then we have a couple of large items for high school, both core curriculum and elective expansions. The core curriculum, really the goal is to make sure that have enough sections of the courses that students are signing up for and want and need in their program, and as they progress through the high school. And as we've talked about before, there often are conflicts that we're not able to get students into what they've asked to be part of or be in as part of their schedule when scheduling happens. So This would expand the number of sections that we have in areas that are really highly, where are tight every time we do the registration process, that we just run out of sections for students who are putting it down as what they'd like to have. And then the elective expansion is similar. We turn a lot of students away from some of the electives that we have at the high school. And so it really is, while we have, on paper, our staff, we're not short staffed. We are short staffed from the perspective of how it pragmatically and practically lays out for our students as they go through the registration process. So we're trying to, over the course of this override, address those issues at the high school. K through 12, 6 through 12 world languages is the same thing. We talked about this as one of the examples of students at the middle school having to choose their world language when they come into 6th grade, and then because of the way we run a program, they're in that pathway through high school unless they're able to double up and switch over to a different language. So this hopefully provides a little bit more room for students to be able to get their language of choice at the middle school is really kind of the focus of this. Health, PE, adaptive PE. We need to meet the special education requirements around adaptive PE. We have no offering around adaptive PE now. So it really is a special education requirement. We are seeking an opportunity because we do not have a director for our health and PE program. We are seeking an opportunity to combine this. So this would be a director position like the other director positions we have at the high school. Likely this would be K through 12, which is similar to art. But this position would also would also teach. So it's a combination teacher director position. And then we have K through 5 and 6 through 12 curriculum support, resources and materials. We are perennially under budgeted for materials and supplies, as you are well aware, at all levels. So this is an effort to increase the amount of money that we have available to provide the resources that our teachers and our students need and ask for.
Can I ask a question
yes.
of what pre-piloting, limited mathematics pre-piloting means?
And Ms. Kirby, I don't know if you want to speak to this or not, but we do have, many of our teachers are using certain programs now in mathematics. So I think the effort has been this year to really try to focus on the programs that they're already using. And we're not fully resourced in the programs right now. So the difference just being really emphasizing and providing the resources and support materials needed to really make sure that we get a good look at the programs that our teachers are using before we then go into what would be a pre-pilot or piloting of a full mathematics program in future years. And we talked about this last time, and you had a great literacy presentation. We're not asking our teachers to go right into a mathematics pilot. We need a couple of years to get our feet under us with a literacy pilot. And Ms. Kirby, I don't know if you have anything that you'd like to add to that, or if I got it right.
Are you looking for volunteers for the pre-pilot, or?
Yeah. So we're really going to begin this at the start of the school, the new year, and just really thinking about, creating this vision for mathematics to make sure that we're grounded in the common understanding of where we are and where we're going. And this will help inform what type of resources and PD we need to get us to that place. So we're just setting aside funds because this year we are looking at a different resource, and that is illustrative math. And as Julie shared with you, we probably have 30% of the staff that are using that. And we just want to make sure that all staff have what they need as they're making these choices, and that includes materials as well as PD, so that we can dive deeper into the why we're taking a look at programs different from what we already have. Does that make sense?
And who's taking a look at those programs?
So it'll be a representative. So we're going to mirror it very much like what's happening in the literacy. We're going to ask for volunteers to join. you named it in that group. Okay, feeling good. So that's the path that we'll be taking. It'll very much be collaborative, representative of different people across the roles. And again, we're just being mindful of timing, and because we need that representation. We understand that, and we've got this pilot, as you may heard, going on in literacy. So it's just managing all of that, but we're going full steam ahead.
Great. Excellent. Thank you.
And so in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through the rest of this. All of this should look very familiar to you, Andrew. If you could just kind of scroll down, you can see that the override ask, the total ask for FY27 would be a little under 3.4 million. FY28, the ask would be around 730,000. FY29, the ask would be 354,000. One thing we did do, we had built out through FY30, but the conversation has been that we don't really have anything that we would want to wait that long for. So we have eliminated FY30 from this schedule. So happy to answer any questions around any of this if you have them. And then we'll just ask you to have a conversation. Obviously, what is your comfort level? What would you like to see differently?
So as Select is considering the horizon for their override number, be it 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, I guess we would have to align with whatever that term is, right? So if they want to go out to FY30, we're going to bring FY30 back. Is that the understanding?
So not necessarily, right? Because whatever the timeline is, the timeline is for the funding of what we're putting forward. If the select board says that they don't want to, if they want us to build out FY30 because they don't want to have new expenses hit in FY30 related to this, then we can do that. But it essentially would be shifting all these priorities in some way, shape, or form. So if we need to build out FY30, then we would start with FY29, see what we can move into FY30, then go to 28. So it would just be a shifting forward. We feel pretty strongly about, we've talked about this before. I mean, we've been building this for almost a year now. So these priorities are in priority order. We're not, what we're really looking to know is what is the number that's going to go to the voters and what will be supported, obviously. But we can move things in here, but we feel pretty comfortable and pretty strongly in some ways about just how we have this laid out. But if we need to push things out to FY30, then we would just have to do some reconfiguration of what you see in front of you. We were at 4.5 million, you know, we're almost there now, but just to note that this amounts to 4.479.
Doing this work with
Dr. Matthews, it's hard to hear. I don't know if you're.
Oh, I don't know. Can you hear me better now?
A little bit.
Okay. I will just say that thank you for doing this work. I think it's great and super helpful. So I appreciate all that you've done.
Certainly. If you have other questions or comments or thoughts, I believe I don't know exactly what the timeline is for the select board. Maybe in terms of when they're actually going to consider some kind of formal action on this. But if needed, we could schedule another meeting if you felt the need to go back and review this again. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Next up, we have consideration of policy IKFE, which is competency determination. And I see that we have Dr. Elenema back with us. We had taken this up as a first reading at our last meeting, December 4th. And if there were any questions to Dr. Elenema, or if there are any questions now, I would invite members to ask. Otherwise, I would take a motion.
I'm happy to make the motion unless there's a question.
Nope, I was just going to make the motion too, Dr. Matthews, so go for it.
I move that we accept the competency determination as presented.
Second.
Thank you very much. Dr. Matthews? Ms. Bergstrom?
Aye. I heard Dr. Matthews.
I heard a soft aye. Thank you. Ms. Minyarji?
Aye.
And Mr. Hopcroft?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and the vote is unanimous for policy IKFE competency determination. We are on schedule to submit that by the end of the year. Good work. Thank you so much, Dr. Elenema. Okay, next up, we have a first reading of policies. We have policies that have no changes. Those have been reviewed by the policy subcommittee, so they'll just be marked as they have been reviewed. And then we have a number of updates. Let me just go through some of the highlights here. Most of these are minor updates. Oops, well, I can't move the screen. Let me see. We have BDFA on the school councils and BDFA E1 on the school improvement plans. These have been brought into line with what is currently in the MASC's 2022 update. They also include DESE's recommendation on the number of meetings that school councils should have. DESE simply recommends that the school council should meet regularly and on an as-needed basis, and that is decided by the principal and the council to give flexibility. Let me see. Under BEDF, the voting method, this is just a change in the way the voting is recorded, mainly for regular meetings. And then also it also includes executive session voting. And then further down, we have BHE with the use of electronic messaging by school committee members. This includes more modern forms of communication than what we had 10 years ago. Also archiving. We all have our district. Oh, sorry, sorry, Ms.
I'm sorry.
Miller.
I just had a quick question about school council.
Oh, yes.
Will this change take effect after we vote on it in a future meeting? Because we're in the middle of a school year, or will it take into effect the following school year? Because right now, all the school councils have met and they're having regular meetings. So when will the update take effect?
Great question. We would try to implement it now. If there are pieces that we can't because we're already scheduled, then we would need to make that adjustment. But it would be our effort to, and we'll let you know. We can let you know actually before you do a final vote in January if there's anything in there that we think we would not be able to implement this year, just as a result of the fact that we're in the middle of the year.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Well, and while we're on school council, I just want to reiterate Mr. Bilton's comment that just making sure that we are following what the requirements are under law, in particular with this. This is, I think, an important way for us to go.
Thank you. Let me just see. Oh, BHE. Last item on that one was we no longer have to keep paper copies of our documents. Let me see. Section E updates. Some of the major ones most of these are minor, but under EEAA, this is now consolidated with EEAFA, bus user fees, and then EEAG, on student transportation in private vehicles. There is the addition of a core requirement for drivers. Section E additions, there is ECAB, access to buildings and grounds, just on who can use our buildings during the school day and after hours. EFBA on school food and nutrition meal modifications. This is just to stay in line with non-discrimination policy from the United States USDA, and just supports any meal modifications as necessary for students. EHAA on district security relating to technology. This is just protecting sensitive, this is reiterating the district's commitment to protecting sensitive data and technology. And EHD on data and records retention. This is mainly around retention of records and delegates this authority to the superintendent. Then we have policies for deletion. You see BDFA E2 and BDFA E3, which are related to school improvement plans and school council business. Both of these have been deleted by the MASC, and they have been consolidated into BDFA on school councils and BDFA on school improvement plans. And also, I believe we'd had the question in public comment about what happens after schools put together their individual school improvement plans. And basically, the superintendent brings those to the school committee and just presents it to the school committee as informational. And it is up to the superintendent to approve the school improvement plan. And if there are any corrections, those go back to the corrections or suggestions, they go back to the school and the principal and the school council. Mr. Hopcroft.
Yeah, I just had a really minor point for consideration on EEAA, student transportation. It envisions students who are not entitled to transportation may have the option of paying a user fee. The committee will set the fee so long as there's a bus route available, there's space on the bus. And then item 4 says students will be allowed to participate in the service on a first come, first paid basis. And I didn't know if perhaps we might want to add, or at the discretion of some person. It just strikes me that there might be a case where there's someone who isn't legally entitled, but maybe there's a really good reason that they ought to be able to take the bus and maybe ought to have priority over someone who just got there first. I know it opens a slippery slope, of course, to people. Maybe, and I don't even know how often this even occurs, but just thinking some flexibility in that area might be something to think about.
That's an interesting question and point. I don't believe since I've been here that we've ever turned students away or not have room on our buses to be able to provide transportation. Mr. Marin, is that a correct statement?
Yes, that's correct. We've run wait lists sort of during the summer as we build out those routes, but ultimately we've always found a spot for everyone.
So I understand your point. We'd need to play that out a little bit and think it through, and we can bring it back as part of the second reading.
Okay, and you know better whether it's something that might be needed, but I was just thinking about there's a number of scenarios I could imagine where there might be a non-legally required but reason where it made a lot of sense to grant someone priority over someone who's just going for convenience.
Thank you.
Yes.
And then the last item, the last policy that is for deletion is EEAFA bus user fees because it was rolled into EEAA, student transportation. So if you have further questions or comments along the way before the second reading, then please feel free to reach out to Dr. Hackett or me or to Dr. Matthews, and we will get back to you. Next up, we have next meetings, which will be January 8th, 2026, first meeting of the year, January 15th, 2026, January 22nd will be our public hearing, and then January 29th will be when we vote the budget. Also, I had heard from, Ms. Bergstrom.
Oh, I wanted to be clear that can we just make it clear in something about our public hearing that it is the public hearing on the FY27 budget, because I think as we get closer to overlapping with our work and the select board's work around the override, people might wonder what they're going to hear about or what they're coming to comment on. And so we may just want to be clear that that's a public hearing only on the FY27 budget, because that is required by law. So
Yeah, great point. Thank you. Also, I had gotten some information from the select board chair prior, or she said that on January 5th, the select board, let me just see, the select board would be, or will be having further discussion on the state of the town and the override, and was inviting the school committee to either a joint meeting or having some representatives come from the school committee to just speak on the additions. And then also on January 9th, the select board will be holding its budget summit. That will be at 9 a.m. in the morning. That is a Friday. And that they are asking to have a joint meeting for that.
is there any way to encourage them to not have a budget summit at 9 a.m. on a Friday morning for those of us that work?
Okay, we will put the question out. I think the concern was, I think with their staff in town hall. That's what I'm.
But we could do it on a day other than a Friday.
Okay.
I think they work late on Monday because they close early on Friday, for example.
But they have the select board meeting that day.
Yeah.
Although, you're right, it could be on a Monday.
It could be the following Monday.
On the following Monday.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that feedback. Then next up, we have an executive session, purpose 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the Winchester Educators Association, as the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the committee. I would accept a motion to move into executive session, and we will not be taking action in the executive session, so we will not be coming back to open session.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor, Dr. Matthews,
Aye.
Mr. Hopcroft,
Aye.
Ms. Bergstrom,
Aye.
and Ms. Minyarji.
Aye.
Thank you so much. And we will move into executive session at 6:17 p.m.
And you'll be receiving an email with that link momentarily.
Thank you.
Thanks to our WinCam friends as well for your help.